obviously anyone who's seen you break has seen like you have this really unique style, and I mean, I think it's definitely because of the way you approach dance, but I also I know that you have like some hip kind of like thing, and I'm curious like how you think that has like really influenced your style.
Yeah, so I didn't know, I wasn't aware of it, but I had like hip dysplasia or like hip misalignment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know at what point it happened, but I remember like experiencing it as early as like 17 years old, like playing soccer and like feeling my hip click, but
Mm.
I caught up with, the next thing, like whether that was I got to pass these classes or I got to do this or do that. And so, um, yeah, by that, so then like 7 years passed. What was it? I don't know. Some time passed. I tore my ACL in a battle. I used to love doing
Oh.
flips, and yeah, my ACL exploded. I was doing like like an aerial or something. It was like this takedown on my shoulder, and yeah, it just pop just exploded and it was over. And then but long story short, around that time I was like, well, I'm already here, at Kaiser Permanente, so I should probably like advocate for myself. And like 10 appointments later of like and being sent to every possible place, finally they were like, all right, we'll give you an MRI. And so yeah, that was the beginning of like I think 4 different surgeries, 3 or 4, 1 for the ACL and then 3 for the hips on the left and the right side. So
Wow.
yeah, and like yeah, so I had like a lot of cartilage damage because I was like a hardcore skater for like, man, like 13 or 14 years just jumping off
Yeah,
and
that'll F your
did a
body.
lot of damage in there. Yeah, like yeah, and so like I'm like pre-osteoarthritic probably. Like I'll probably, I mean, knock on wood, but it's probably gonna happen. I'll probably need like hip replacements and stuff.
Oh man.
And so at the time it was tough because, and it still is, dancing is still my main form of exercise. But that was really devastating at that time because it's just like a lot of, some one conception of human suffering is like loss of self, like loss of sense of self. And for me, that sense of self is derived from a lot of things that I enjoy doing, right? That are physically active.
Yeah.
So that was really hard. And so, yeah. And so, but again, we're really fortunate, we are, we break, and so, and, and we enjoy other dances too. Right. So I was like, well, I could just say, I guess I'm just gonna quit and that's it. But it's like I don't know. I imagine like from your experience too. There's probably been some times where you have this love that's just like constantly overflowing, and that's not going away.
Mm-hmm.
But then other aspect of your life is trying to come in the way of you engaging with that love in the way that you want to. And so I guess I just came to a crossroads where I was like, well, I guess I could just stop. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm really stubborn, and like I just wanted to figure it out. Because I remember, I remember one of my surgeons, like he was like, "Oh, so this break dancing, like, what are you doing?" I was like, I showed him a video like Kid David doing like a 6-step or something, and he was like, "Oh." He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You shouldn't do that anymore." Like, oh, but man.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, dude.
Yeah, he told me to stop, and I was like, fuck, man, I don't want to stop. And so, but like, after that depressing appointment, I was thinking about, Junior, ill abilities, like just all these, just all these cats that just, they find a way to move, they're all just moving, it's like, they all have their foundation. And it's like, so the door, I'm sure that there must be some poppers or other dancers that have found a way too with their respective styles, but I just saw a lot of examples in the dance that that gave me a lot of hope, and so I was like, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna get this out, and also just like another thing about breaking, and I think the dancing in general or in a lot of scenes is like that sense of community too that you can have with people. Like I really didn't want to. I love that so much, and I didn't want to lose that either. And I just appreciated it so much. So I would miss not going to practice 2 times a week or even 3 times a week, and just hearing the music, engaging with people, and obviously, you know, getting exercise and all that stuff. There's so many positive things about it. So yeah, so basically after that, you know, I was just like, I went online. I remember like, I don't know if you know that Bboy like Peep or something. I think he's from like Denmark. Do I know this? I don't know. I know a lot of useless information, but he was doing like a planche workout, you know, like, you know, doing all that stuff. And I was just looking up all that stuff because I was just like, well, you know, these people that have found their own foundation, part of it is like they're building on what it is that they are able to do instead of being focused on what they can't do. So I was like, well, my ass works still last time I checked. My belly works last time I checked. My back is all right last time I checked. You know, shoulders, you know.
Yeah.
That's okay at least for now. So it's like, why don't I focus on strengthening my muscles in those areas? Why don't I focus on figuring out a way to move in all these seemingly awkward positions? But there's always a relationship to establish. There's always a connection to be made. It's just that path hasn't been like maybe explored as much for a lot of different reasons. One being, maybe people think it just looks dumb, or maybe it's just more difficult, right? But you know, that in itself makes it more worthwhile too. Because if you can, for me, in my mind, it's like if I could find a way to do that, then that would just be wonderful, because I'd be able to dance again and also maybe make some cool stuff, you know, create some new stuff again, creating something out of nothing. And it's like one of the best things about breaking or dance in general. It's like we're always, and art in general, it's like we're creating a space, we're creating an environment, a mood, a feeling, an energy, you know, that you get when you go to the gym and everyone's like, wow, you know, it's like a party vibe or whatever it is, you know, people are having a good time, people are feeling love, hate, emotion, camaraderie, competitiveness, you know what I mean? Learning, you know, values about self-confidence, formative experiences for high school students and people in their 30s, whatever, you know, they're all, you know what I'm saying? And it's all from nothing. Like, if you think about it, it's just a bunch of people standing in a room, a hot and sweaty room, and then there's like 2 speakers and some guy that's like, you know what I mean? Or girl, or, you know, however you know, identify, whatever your respective gender identity is. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, all it is. And we get so much from it. And so I was like, shit, man, I gotta figure this out, because I can't give this up, you know?
Yeah. Dude, that's tight. And like, so you obviously like work through those struggles, and I mean, that's the definition right there of unapologetically yourself, almost, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah
It's and so anyways, so I think it's really cool to share that story, because I know that there's a lot of like new dancers out there that, you know, maybe they have something, you know, that they're struggling through, you know, whether it be like an actual injury or something, or maybe something different that, you know, that we don't understand, but and that's deterring them from dancing. But I think it's really cool to hear stories like yours, where it's like, it's almost like it made you better. It kind of gave you a superpower in a way, because you had this obstacle that you had to get over, and it made you, like, once you got on the other side of the obstacle, it was like a huge door opened up for you, and you obviously like thrived in that. And you know, and Junior is a good example of that too. Cujo too. It's like all these guys you hear about that, you know, had obvious obstacles in front of them, but they were able to get over it, and it, you know, made them. I mean, Junior in my mind is one of the greatest, and like it'd be hard to imagine him being what he is without, like, you know, I think it's like a leg thing that he has or something. So it's really interesting how that happens. It's like it's a, I don't know what you'd say, a disability, I guess, becomes a superpower. Right?
Yeah, I mean, what is it? I heard something like, you know, it's so much easier to be yourself than to try to, you know, be someone else, or, you know, conform to a certain style or a certain sound. Like, and I think like it's an exercise in that. Like, I mean, I could have tried to somehow, you know, just do exactly what I was doing before, but obviously it wouldn't have been sustainable, and it would have hurt a lot too. And so it's like, if you can, you know, double down on yourself, and like, and just remember that, you know, that you know, when you're on the floor, when you're battling someone, you're really like battling yourself first and foremost. challenging yourself to just to find your way to move. And to the story, then it's like, and you've already won, you know, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. Like, yeah, maybe I don't have quote unquote what the judges are looking for, but like, I guess it just depends on why someone dances. But in my case, it's like, it doesn't even matter. I mean, what matters is the effort that we write, the hours and the everything that goes into practicing, or everything that like leads up to that moment, you know, that 1 minute, you know, all that time and all that energy and devotion for 1 minute of, in my case, maybe a crash or maybe not a crash, right? But it's all like, it's just it's so worthwhile, you know? So
yeah. And
I hope, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then all that kind of pressure on yourself, and it's a very big mix of emotions when you're like dancing, because it's like it's a culmination of everything you've practiced, every experience you've gone through, and you're throwing it all out on the dance floor in front of everybody to judge you, I guess is
and it's hard not to feel that too in the moment. I get it, like, we're human, right? Like, I would still get nervous and all that stuff, but I would just say, man, like, to anyone out there, if you just rolled your ankle or you broke your arm or whatever it is, just, you know, I mean, there are just, if you can, you know, after you obviously like feel the grief you're gonna feel or whatever it is, and you're able to like let that like flow through you after that, and then, you know, just think about what it is that you can, you know, what are other parts of your body or other things that you can focus on, can you, or even like in your mind, right? What are things that you can learn about? It doesn't even have to be within dancing, right? It's like, these are opportunities to, you know, work on other things. Like, this is like kind of like loosely related, but, you know, obviously with the current circumstances with like COVID-19, I had a friend who he was spending more time indoors, so he got into beat making. He started producing because inside more, you know. So in general, it's just like all this stuff is a metaphor for the unpredictability of like what tomorrow brings, and then you know how and where, you know, where I think we can win is if we, you know, we ask ourselves, well, how can we adapt to this? How can we take this as look at this as an opportunity to just explore something new, to further ourselves in some other way? Because
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please click like if you liked it, or dislike if you thought it was whack. Either way, make some noise in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. And please subscribe if you're down with that broke boy and or broke girl shit. Thanks. Peace.